Welcome to the video guide for Kaiyan's Wrath Master, a new Agato Uprising boss fight difficulty released as part of patch 1.22 of Dragalia Lost. My name is Xenozillus, and let's get straight to it. As a primer, Kaiyan retains most of his moveset from phase 2 of the expert difficulty fight, as well as the battleground and adamantine shield effects. For this guide, I'll be going over moves as they occur over a 4-minute run. As with all Agato fights, mechanics may occur in a different order or even repeat, depending on the amount of damage dealt to the boss. The fight begins with an opening blast, much like Master Volk and the High Dragon Trials. In my experience, this deals between 2,000 to 3,000 damage, though this will depend on co-abilities. Shield and heal through this is necessary, but the exact way of handling this will depend on your team composition. This will be followed by a dash targeted at the closest player. Swipes. These have been upgraded to purple telegraphs, and also hit much harder than before. Avoid these. The occasional backswipe is still telegraphed with the double exclamation point marker, but it's now accompanied with a quick filling purple telegraph. Get in front of Kaiyan or out of range if this marker appears. The shield. It's announced by a purple donut and circle, and Kaiyan applies his adamantine shield while also applying debuffs depending on your positioning. Being in the circle will debuff your strength by 50% for 15 seconds, while being in the donut will apply skill suppression for 5 seconds. Skill suppression will quickly drain the charge of all your skills, even if they were previously charged. I believe most characters would prefer to get hit by their strength debuff, especially healers. Satellite drop? This unnamed mechanic causes a purple marker to follow all players. Once the marker resolves, it deals a moderate amount of damage, roughly 2,000, in the circle, as well as spawning a persistent satellite that will cause damage to players that touch it. These remain for the rest of the fight, so be sure to drop these on the edge of the arena to facilitate movement. Crushing Cataclysm. It hasn't really changed mechanically from the expert difficulty, but it is now much harder to break and deals roughly 100,000 damage. Not even Grey Shields will save you now. It might be prudent to hold or delay skills for a few seconds leading up to this. Supreme Spears. Again, this hasn't changed mechanically, but the spears are now much tankier. Since Kaiyan follows the spears with dashes, one player, preferably the healer, should bait the charges away from the spears. Positioning appropriately can allow you to keep him in one position against the wall, but be wary of his tendency to slide along the wall if he is baited at an angle. Unbreakable Satellites. These function mostly the same as they do in Expert, but will disappear after 40 seconds instead of remaining indefinitely. Universal Annihilation. The first Universal Annihilation, and I believe everyone after that, will have the center of the AoE replaced by a red stack marker. These stackable Universal Annihilations will also be accompanied by an application of Adamantine Shield, so be sure to dispel before players dash themselves against Kaiyan's rock-hard body. As with Expert, it might make sense to try and Dragon Tank here, but Grey Shields may make it somewhat awkward. That actually covers it for mechanics. The rest is up to you and cold hard practice. As with Master Volk, expect to require a maximum unbound tier 1 Kaiyan weapon to be at the right power level to tackle this fight. As for unit recommendations, there are a variety of compositions bouncing around at the moment. The majority of public room clears are done with 1 healer and 3 DPS, with most players opting to use Grace as their healer, with Cleo as a second choice, though I've not seen many. For DPS, I've seen mostly Gala Alex, Gala Cleo, Belina, Forte, and Vice. I've also seen the occasional Linnea and Veronica. The easiest composition to play seems to be 1 Grace with 3 Belina, resulting in constant dispel spam and extremely tanky units. Removing the dispel burden from Grace also makes her much easier to play. Regardless, a proficient team with 1 healer and 3 DPS can expect runs to take about 4 to 6 minutes. I've also seen videos of 4 DPS clears. I believe they opt to use Patia instead of a healer, but I'm not sure of the specifics. These compositions have been seen clearing in under 2 minutes, but for now I believe this is best left to coordinated teams. And that, I believe, is that. Since this is new difficulty instead of a whole new fight, the guide for this is pretty short as it builds upon previous experience from the expert fight. As always, leave your questions down below and consider dropping a like if you found this guide helpful. I'll be releasing more fight guides further down the line, so be sure to subscribe to avoid missing those. Thanks for watching, stay safe, take it easy, and I'll see you next time.